Hey and welcome, I'm Laura, live Namasturm Yoga. This is going to be a simple morning yoga stretch practice. So, good morning. We're going to start sitting on the mat today. I tend to teach a vinyasa style practice, which is a little bit more vigorous and athletic, but I do also think that sometimes for balance sake, we need some gentler practices. And so this one I think of as something to kind of help you wake up in the morning. Just some stretching, some easy movement to help get your blood flowing, but without making you ready to go right back to bed. Something that's going to wake you up a little bit, but in a nice, gentle way. So from your seat, let's just inhale, reach the arms out and up. As you bring your palms together, lift your heart, look up to your thumbs, and then exhale. Bring those palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Let yourself take some full deep breaths here, expanding your rib cage as you inhale, and then exhaling long and slow. And then take your hands to the knees, and we're just going to start moving the spine. So on an inhale, move your heart forward. Maybe the head tilts back a little. Exhale, go the other way, rounding your back, letting your chin tuck. Inhale, forward with the heart, shoulders back. Exhale, going the other way. Follow the pace of your own breath. If you want to work with a new Ujjayi practice, you can also introduce that here, and then creating the rhythm to your breath, the body follows that rhythm. This should all feel good. So if you're feeling any resistance or strain, just make the movement smaller. So go at your own pace. Let your body wake up naturally. Let's not try to jar it awake. All right, and then coming back to center, we're just gonna do a simple fold down over crossed legs. So you can start to walk your hands to the floor and let your head hang down. Maybe forearms come down. Some of you might even find you can easily get your head to the floor. Walk the hands in, come up. Let's change which way the legs are crossed. So bring the other shin in front. Hands back to your knees. And this time, instead of just back and forth, we're going to go in some circles. And this can start as small as you need it to start. Starting in just one direction first. And really let your rib cage kind of roll around here as you're moving in all of the directions, warming up the muscles of your back, your torso. But as you start to feel like it's going to be okay, you can expand that range of motion and let yourself feel like you're really rolling from one sit bone to the other. Let the shoulders get involved. Maybe let the head and neck get involved in a way that feels natural, organic. And then at some point, just change direction. Go the other way. Really listening to your body here. When we do a slower yoga practice, I think we do have that chance to kind of just check in along the way, be really mindful and aware. Now, coming back to center, we'll take one more simple fold down to center. Because our legs are crossed the other way, it's going to hit you just a little bit differently through the hips. Walk the hands in to come back up. Let's keep the left foot, or we can go whichever side you want to, but keep one foot tucked in. So for me, I'm going to keep my left foot tucked in and step my right foot over for just a simple seated twist, using my left arm around or past that right knee to turn over the right shoulder. So right knee up, twist to the right. Come out of your twist. Let's take the left hand to the far end of the mat, and we're gonna lean our weight to our left hand and then stretch that left leg underneath you. Adjust your right foot so your knee is over your ankle, and then just see if you can pop your hip up. And then maybe take that right arm overhead for a good side stretch. Your knee might not be perfectly over the ankle. It's fine as long as you feel like your knee is safe and supported. And then let's slowly lower that left hip down again, and we're just gonna switch sides. So let's recross the legs for our twist. So this time the left leg is over the right. Use your right arm around or past to twist to the left. And if you did the other side first, that's okay. Just switch sides. Okay, so coming out of your twist, take that right hand to the end of your mat, extend your right leg underneath you, so like your right hip is on the floor, push down into your left foot and lift your hip up. Top arm can go up or overhead alongside the ear. And lower your right hip back down. Let's go ahead and turn, coming to a seated position with the legs nice and long. We'll flex the feet a little bit. We're coming into Dandasana with the legs, but we're just gonna do a little flow here. So on an inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, dive down over those legs, but then we're gonna roll right back up. So on an inhale, like you're stacking your spine a little bit, reach the arms. Running into my plant. Exhale, dive down. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, dive down. Inhale, come on up. And take this real small if your hamstrings are still tight today. One more time. Inhale, come on up. And then this time we're gonna hold in a fold. But if you need to bend your knees a little bit, that's fine. If you need to sit up on a block for this held forward fold, you can. Hands could be on the floor. If it's real easy for you to reach your feet, gently pull the ball of the pinky toe side of the foot back towards you. Don't worry if this is not the deepest forward fold you've ever been in. Remember, we're just kind of waking up our body here. Tuning into all of the different muscle groups, but not trying to push or force anything. Okay, and then let's come on up. Bring your hands behind you. Bring your feet in so that your heels are just a little bit away from the hips. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna lift up our hips and kind of move them right to our heels, and then point the knees towards the floor. So the heels and hips are touching, the knees point towards the floor, just stretching the front of the body. If you want to drop your head back, you may. Some of you might find you can easily get the knees to the floor, but it's going to depend on you. And maybe, like for me, I'm finding resistance in my feet. You might find resistance in your quads. Only go as far as feels good. And then slowly lower your hips back down towards the ground. Walk the hands in, and we're going to drop our knees to the floor and come to child's pose. So sitting on your feet, your knees can be a little wide if you want to. Feet should be extended. Just walk your arms out. Let your forehead rest. From here, let's keep our forearms on the ground, but see if you can interlace the fingers. Bring your shoulders up over your elbows and your hips up over your knees, and we're gonna do kind of a forearm cat-cow stretch here, focusing specifically on the upper back. So on an inhale, pull your shoulder blades together and drop your chest down towards the floor, and then on an exhale, go the other way. Slightly press your forearms down to lift your upper back in that space. And then just going back and forth, you can lift your head on inhales and drop your head on exhales. So it feels very cat-cow-like, but with the forearms on the floor, you might find it's easier to get a little deeper into the shoulders and upper back. Okay, and then let's start to walk the hands in. We're going to come all the way up to our knees. And on an inhale, just simply reach the arms out and up. And then exhale, drop your hips to your heels. Let your forehead come to the floor. Hands can come back by the feet. And we're just going to do this a few times, flowing with the breath. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, diving down, almost like the top of a sun salutation, but we're on our knees instead of our feet. One more time, come on up. And then from our knees, let's go ahead and step the right foot forward. So see if you can get that all the way to the front of the mat so we can take a nice lunge. If this is tricky for your back knee, if it feels really uncomfortable, fold the side edge of your mat so that it's double and then put your knee on the doubled up portion. You could also put a towel or blanket or something under the knee, but if you don't have one handy, that's the easiest option. Sink the hips forward toward that front heel, and then hands can just be on the thigh, just gently pressing to move the shoulders back. Or if you want to take your arms up, you can. You could take them up into the air. You could interlace your fingers and press your palms toward the ceiling, or you can even interlace your fingers, bring your hands behind your head, widen your elbows as you lean your head back and open your heart. All right, and then coming out of that gently, bring your hands to the floor to support you as you bring your right knee back to meet the left, and let's just switch sides. So step the left foot forward so that your knee is going to end up over the ankle. Sink the hips forward. If you need to keep your hands on the ground, that's also okay, but see if you can start to gradually bring your upper body up a little more so that not only are we stretching the legs, but we're letting the front of the body open. Any variation you did on the first side, or you can even change it up. Our legs are asymmetrical, but our upper body is actually symmetrical in this pose, so if you do a different variation on the second side, it's kind of all right. Okay, hands to the floor. Step your left knee back. Now I'm going to turn to the side. You may not need to, but you may if you want to. Step the right foot all the way out to the end of the mat. Take the right hand to your right leg and left arm up and over. Just a nice side stretch here. And then we're going to let that left hand move to the floor, under the shoulder. If you needed to put the hand on a block, you certainly could. Take the right arm alongside the ear so that we're stretching the whole side body here, almost like an extended side angle. And then see if you can transfer your weight to just your left hand and knee and float the right foot off the ground. So just practicing a little bit of balance here. If you want to go one step further, you can bend your right knee behind you, reach back with your right hand for that foot, and then pull the heel away from the hip to get a bit of a bow stretch. And then let that go. Both knees back to the floor. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, drop the hips to the heels, forehead to the floor like we did earlier, going towards child's pose. Inhale, come back up again, and we're going to go to the other side. So stepping that left foot out, left hand to the leg for a simple side stretch first. All right, and then right hand's gonna come to the ground under your shoulder or on a block, but still under your shoulder. Top arm over. See if you can find that length from the edge of the foot, through the hip, through the shoulder, all the way through your fingertips. And then carefully floating your left foot off the floor. You'll have to transfer your weight a little bit. Push through the heel. So that's going to help keep the leg engaged and lifted. And then if you did on the first side, bend the knee behind you, reach back with your left hand for your foot, and then pulling the heel away from the hip. So it's almost like you're trying to then move your head and your foot towards each other. All right, let that go. Knees back to the floor. Inhale, reach those arms out and up. Exhale, dropping hips to the heels, forehead to the floor. Let's come to tabletop, so full table. So we could do some cat-cow stretches here, and if that's what you'd like to do, you can. But I encourage you to move a little bit more non-specifically, I guess. That's maybe not the right word for it, but freely. So keep your hands and knees where they are, but allow yourself just to move the body in any way that feels good. So you can bend your elbows, you can drop your hips to your heels, you can come forward, you can dip your hips round the back, go from side to side, anything that feels good here. So just kind of organically let your body move itself. Maybe explore your range of motion in areas that you don't normally touch in with or tap into. So this just kind of gives you permission to, feel out where you need a little stretch, where you need a little attention in your spine, in your arms and shoulders, in your hips even. Just go for it. It may not be aligned with your breath because we're not really moving rhythmically. Just a little more freely than that. And then from here, we're going to come to downward facing dog. So you can walk your hands a little forward perhaps, tuck your toes, lift your knees and hips. And similar here, so you can pedal through the feet if you like, or again, if there's any way that organically would make more sense for you to move, you can move the shoulders forward, you can bend into the elbows and drop your chest. Just give yourself a little bit of freedom and permission here to see what feels good. Okay, now let's take the right leg up, open the hip and bend the knee, point the knee to the sky for a moment. We're gonna move the knee forward behind the right wrist for a pigeon stretch so that we can get a nice hip opener here. Before we fold down though, let's go ahead and stretch the front of the right quad. So we'll do our little quad stretch by bending the left knee, reaching back with the hand for the foot and moving the heel towards the hip. Just a gentle stretch for the front of that back leg. Now that we're a little warmer, we can go for some of these deeper stretches. So a hip opener can feel so good for our hips, which hold a lot of our tension and sometimes even our emotional tension. But hip openers are also really nice for the low back. So you can allow that back leg to extend now and just fold out over your shin. Give up the weight of your upper body and breathe here. Okay, bring yourself back up, hands to the mat. Let's go back to down dog. If you want to shake out your right leg between sides, you can do that. Otherwise, we'll go to the left. So take that left leg into the air, open the hip, bend the knee for a moment, and then move the knee forward behind your left wrist so that the shin crosses the mat. We don't want to fall onto our left hip, so although the left hip might be kind of close to the ground, we shouldn't be resting weight on it. Let's start with the quad stretch for the right leg. So support yourself with left fingers, Bend that right knee and then gently draw the heel towards your hip here. If you find that when you bend your knee, you can't reach the foot, go ahead and just keep the leg on the floor, but work with your fingers and your hands to bring your upper body more upright so that you're kind of getting that stretch along the shoulder to knee area, even if you can't grab the foot. Don't bend the knee though if you can't grab it, because then you're just going to strain your hamstring a bit. Okay, and then when you're ready, let that go. Fold out over your shin and take some time in your pigeon stretch. Side two. And when you're ready to move out of the stretch, hands to the floor, downward dog. Shake out your left leg if you'd like to. And we're going to walk the feet forward, coming back to a seat. Let's take the right leg out, and then you could take Janu Shirshasana here, so I'll try to demonstrate from the other side. So you can take Janu Shirshasana here, sole the left foot to the inner thigh, or if you're able to, bring that leg behind you and kind of like in a half virasana or half hero pose, and then take your knee open to the side. So you've got kind of a 90-degree angle between the legs. So option, Janu Shirshasana, or see if you can get that foot behind you. And then we're gonna start just by turning to the right leg and folding. So it's just a one-legged seated forward fold that we're focusing on first. Let yourself move into these stretches slowly, so you don't need to be there all at once. Give your body time. When you're ready to come up, we're going to actually try to transfer our focus to this left leg. If it's tucked behind you, see if you can fold towards it, or you might actually find that you need to be kind of somewhere in the middle. So we're going to get a deeper stretch in this left hip with this foot in the alternate position, but see how it feels for you. You don't want it to hurt. You just want to find the stretch that's the right size for you. Take your time, come out of your stretch, and we'll switch legs. So this time we're going to extend the left leg. The right foot can either tuck in, Janu Shirshasana, or it can move behind you. This is a different rotation of the hip, so it's going to feel a little bit different. If you're tucking your foot behind you, take the knee out a little wide, so you've got about a 90-degree angle, but we'll start with that fold directly toward the left leg. Keep your foot flexed and your muscle a little bit toned. Be gentle with your body. Allow gravity to do all the work for you. Don't push or pull. Just try to give in to the stretch. And then You can come on up and change sides, or you can actually kind of just walk around the center if you want to. So we're gonna move our focus towards that right leg that's tucked behind and see if you can find a stretch kind of deep in that hip flexor. Let yourself fold. Be where you need to be, don't go too far. And come back up nice and easy. Let's take the legs out. We're just gonna give them a little shake, a little bounce. Maybe the shoulders a little shimmy, anything that would feel good. This is gonna be the end of our practice, so go ahead and come to a cross-legged position. I hope this woke you up today without stressing you out. So hopefully it felt really good and you can start your day open and relaxed. Let's inhale, reach the arms out and up again. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Close the eyes, tune back into your breath, and just check in with yourself here for another moment before you go about your day. We'll end this simple practice with a bow forward. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing a practice. Namaste. All right, thanks. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and please don't hesitate to subscribe. Thank you for joining me. If you liked this practice, give it a thumbs up, and feel free to leave me some questions or comments if you have those. All right, take care. Hope you'll join me again next time. Bye-bye and namaste.